Welcome back to A Slightly Twisted Female. I'm your host, Brittany Rue. We're just going to jump right into this. I'm really tired, but I just feel like I need to... I feel very much the time is of the essence in covering this story. So this is a new chapter in the Destiny and Kerfluffles drama, all related to Kiwi Farms. So just as a quick backstory, Destiny was a Twitch streamer who was the second largest, most popular political Twitch streamer on the platform with 650,000 followers at the time that he was deplatformed. And when he was deplatformed, Kerfluffles, who, shout out to Amanda who said I was pronouncing Kerfluffles wrong, it's Kerfluffles, basically doubled his following and gained, 30,000 followers in the span of a very short period of time. I think in like a less than a couple of days. So, and the reason why I think this is so important to archive for women, for feminists, for gender critical women and radical feminists is because how this is all tied into what gender ideology is, what the purpose of gender ideology is, what it's capable of doing, and why we need to keep an eye on this. And I think this drama has absolutely illuminated the question that we've all been asking now for quite a long time, which is, what is the end game of this? Why is it that the government and these tech conglomerates and corporations are so in bed and so fiercely defensive of trans ideology and the transgender sort of agenda? And it's all really becoming clear. I mean, as I continue to just watch this unfold, it's obvious now. And it was Silly Posting who really hit the nail on the head when she said that, somebody like Kerfluffles and even transgender people in general are useful idiots. Is a useful idiot in the fact that this is all about consolidating power over the internet. This is all about scrubbing out the last sort of rogue places of free speech. This is a way to give, and the government obviously sees the benefit of, if you control speech on the internet, if you're able to control the flow of ideas and information on the internet. The internet and even social media totally shook up all previous mainstream institutions, right? So before, all we had was the mainstream media, and government propaganda was very top down. Then we, for the first time, were able to flip that on its head and make it bottom up. You even look, mainstream media now is still stealing stories from the bottom. And we are moving at an absolutely rapid pace. We're now at an absolutely rapid pace. We're learning about stories faster than they can keep up with. We're able to shape the political narrative. We're able to, share and exchange ideas, and they have lost control over that flow of information. Once you can regain control, and now not just control on a sort of state level or a national level, but this is control on a global level. And it supersedes state lines. And the reason why the whole trans movement is such a good weapon is because it hijacks and utilizes the language of these other civil rights movements, and it creates this anyone can be this thing, right? And it's still using people who are powerful, people who would otherwise align with them anyway, these sort of tech bros, these sort of, these males who are either narcissistic or just otherwise maladapted and have too much whatever. So that's what this is about. This is about centralizing the internet. That's what this has always been about. And this is becoming so startlingly clear as this saga unfolds. So, yeah, absolutely. Doe says transit is a brand. And I think more than we could possibly understand. But we're starting to. So I want to go through this. Like I said, it's important to keep a record of this and to track this so that it can't be scrubbed, so that the record can't be lost. Also, make sure that you're following me on Odyssey in case anything happens to this channel. I'm not going to, if anything happens, whatever, I'm not going to stop Not going to stop. All right, so we're just going to jump right in. This thing is long, so this is obviously going to have to be a multi-part thing. But it's crazy, and we're going to try to get through as much of it as we can. So I was going through it just now prior to hopping onto the stream. So it's, again, this is by so Stephen Bonnell II. This was posted, or Bonnell was posted October 1st on Substack. So this is on Destiny. So if anybody who wants the it's the, let's see, anybody who wants the address, it's destiny.substack.com/p/a/k/study/on/internet. So if you would like to see it, that's where it is. It's on Substack. All right, Kerfluffles, a case study on the internet terrorism and mass media manipulation. And I was watching Kerfluffles' response stream today. He's a weirdo. He really is a weirdo. And it just, somebody clearly, like I said, fully socialized on the internet. At this point, almost seems like they exclusively socialize on and through the internet, and you can just tell the way he speaks, the way he engages. It's all really like weird. All right, so let's just get right into it. Oh, really quick, I want to shout out. Let's shout out really fast the person who brought this up, and is the big part of the reason that I'm going over this right now. Person, username Banana Bread. All right, so when I posted the new Kiwi Farms thread and I asked you guys to drop, you guys have been really, really helpful in like dropping leads and stuff. But this is the one that I had. Hold on. Yeah, so shout out to Banana Bread. Let's see. This person said, all right, I haven't finished your Kiwi Farms streams yet, so I don't know. I don't know what you know. But the biggest development recently is the Destiny Manifesto against Kerfluffles. The too long didn't read it is Kerfluffles lied about / defamed Destiny, got him deplatformed from Stitch and YouTube, and then went after his monetization. In response, Destiny announced that he was looking into taking legal action against Kerfluffles for defamation. He even said he would be willing to drop around $50,000 on a lawsuit. Yesterday, he released a massive document on his Substack that detailed how Kerfluffles lied about him and defamed him, with a basic timeline of the Kerfluffles vs. Kiwi Farm saga included. I mean, if he's about to do a lawsuit, though, it's kind of like not really a good move to like drop all of this now. He should really wait to get like legal advice before he starts like out, because you're just kind of giving, Kerfluffles your game plan, and so now he can like develop a sort of response strategy, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah, I wish him all the best of luck with that. Anyway, yesterday he released a massive document on his Substack that detailed how Kerfluffles lied about him and defamed him, with a basic timeline of the Kerfluffles vs. Kiwi Farm saga included. Meanwhile, Kerfluffles and Bob Posting, aka Bathtub Troonshine Tim. So this is a guy who is either his Kerfluffles' friend, or some people suspect that it was his boyfriend, but that's one of the guys who's like really, really into selling the Troonshine to minors, and that's a really shady thing going on. Apparently he was deplatformed for it, but is now continuing to do it under another alias. This has caused Kerfluffles to walk back and flat out deny a lot of what they said and did. Luckily, the thread is still up and everything is archived. Thank God. He thought it was over. It's not. Let's see. Other notable figures are Liz Fong Jones at Liz the Gray, an ex-Google employee that has been throwing around their connections in order to target Kiwi Farm's various service providers. Sincere at Drop Kiwi Farms is obsessively tweeting about Kiwi Farms / targeting any internet services used by the farm. Sincere is well known for years of obsessively playing Fallout 76. Oh yeah, I actually heard heard he played some insane amount of hours on that game. They harvested and stored IP addresses in order to dox people, including children. Fallout 76 players are warned to stay far away from him. Brianna Wu, infamous Gamergate cry bully who jumped on the Drop Kiwi Farms bandwagon and is now loudly complaining about, quote, being dragged into it, lol. Sorry, I stopped eating on here. Are these all, like, Troons? Are these all Tims? I'm guessing. Can anyone confirm whether or not these are Tims? Alright, so even those last 3 people have scaled back their obsessive tweeting. That document has people quaking, LMAO. If you want to read the Substack on stream, his username is DestinyGG, and the document is called Kerfluffles, a case study on internet terrorism and mass media manipulation. So yeah, like I said, shout out to Banana Bread. Much appreciation for getting this kicked off. So let's get into it. Alright. Alright, so basically in the beginning, I'll just read his first thing and then we're gonna kind of pass through this first part of it, because a lot of this is like him defending himself and him pointing out all the times that, like, basically Kerfluffles lied on him. But we'll just read the first. Alright, it says Kerfluffles, a case study on internet terrorism and mass media manipulation. For the past 6 years, progressives and conservatives have waged vicious war with one another across cyberspace. With cultural, political, and advertiser pressure bearing down on these social media platforms, conservatives have slowly found themselves on the losing end of the digital battlefield in the ongoing culture war. As their role flips from oppressee to oppressor, progressives have sometimes found themselves embracing many of the same styles of aggression conservatives once engaged in. This is going to be a cataloging of the past year, a demonstration of what happens when communities fail to hold their own members responsible, and what comes of the belief that there are, quote, no bad tactics, only bad targets. This is going to be a careful documentation of lies, scams, threats, bullying, doxing, and an utter lack of accountability. Over the years, I've worried about the types of tactics endorsed by progressive communities. The uncomfortable distorting of narratives, the grotesque shape-shifting of facts, the general inability to hold themselves to a decent standard of behavioral conduct. I've been worried that the right combination of identity politics combined with a holy mandate from members of the media may empower deplorable actors to become new representatives of our movements, with no one left to put the brakes on their treachery. All facts, big facts. He goes on to say, the prevailing narrative circling Kiwi Farms and Kerfluffles is wrong. It is not a story of a downtrodden trans activist supported by righteous members of the media battling against an evil empire of militant Nazis and transphobes. Rather, it is a tale of an internet bully given far too much power on a mission to seek fame and fortune by building a career through vicious conflict born out of lies and disinformation. We have allowed ourselves to gaze into the abyss for far too long, and Kerfluffles is the result. In this exposition, I am looking to append the prevailing media narrative through establishing a clear record of truth with regard to these key points. 1. Kerfluffles' initial rise to fame was through internet bullying and lies, not through righteous activism. 2. There is not enough evidence to support the claim that Kiwi Farms has bullied anyone to suicide. 3. Kiwi Farms was likely not the main culprit behind most of Kerfluffles' harassment. 4. Kerfluffles grossly misrepresented the events justifying her, he's like super like trans supportive, which is annoying, and it's like kind of like, don't you get it yet, bro? Like, do you not get it yet? That I get so frustrated. It's like they see all the like effed up behavior and they're like, oh, but I'm still supportive of trans people. It's like, you don't get it yet. Do you not? Come on. He'll get there. He's peaking, but still, it's just frustrating in the meantime, because again, it's like they don't care enough to ally with women. Like, these are the type of men who like get it, they can see it, but they're still not gonna like, go against their bros. Like, that's really where we're at with it. The DIY HRT directory, because then you have like douchebags like Vosh who will get like psychotic. Yo, Vosh is a nutcase. She's like, yeah, that's a whole other beast to slay for another day. Kerfluffles grossly misrepresented the events justifying his GoFundMe. The DIY HRT directory, which had Kerfluffles' full social and monetary support, engages in grossly irresponsible behavior with minors. All right, so then he has it chaptered. So 1 is the ascension of Clara Sorrenti, who is Kerfluffles / Robert, whatever the hell his last name is. 2, Kiwi Farms. 3, who are the doxers? 4, the swattings. 5, the GoFundMe heist. 6, bathtub hormones and spy gains. 7, Kerfluffles, a character analysis. And 8, a call to action. So, yeah, I know, Bosch, oh my god, Bosch is like scares me actually. Like, he's very aggressive. He's like very, very like testosterone. Like, he's like very like incel rage. Like, I get very like incel rage vibes from him. He's like such a nice guy. He'll fucking kill you if you don't like recognize how nice he is. All right, so the ascension of Claire Sorrenti. So basically he goes through sort of like the history. So just to like, let's just blast through this. A lot of this is like him trying to defend himself, and I'm like not interested in that part. So, no offense, Destiny, like no one gives a shit. Like, let's see, but let's okay. So, as a Twitch, all right, so Clara Sorrenti, better known online as Kerfluffles, is a Twitch streamer, avid Twitter user. He's known for his... Stop calling her she, her. First of all, I'm going to make myself big for this because I'm like, I got really frustrated reading this. Okay, Destiny, I'm sure you'll never watch this, but I'm going to say this to you anyway. As a woman, as an actual woman, I find it so reprehensible that you would use my name, call my name, my daughter's name, lift it from us and apply it to this freak show. Apply it to this person who do you not understand the connection? Okay, no, we don't agree. We don't consent. We're not okay. No, thank you. We're saying no. Stop. Okay? We're not cool with this. You have no right. Okay? Watch your mouth. Stop misgendering this person because it's a disrespect, it's a slap in the face, and you're spitting on us. And we say no, this is our name, we're not giving it up, so watch your mouth, okay? I appreciate the sort of like half-assed, flimsy, like being on our side and the pussyfooting. Oh, this whole thing has really been like pretty spineless. And it's mostly you defending yourself and trying to be cool with everybody. And I guess that's how you got to where you are. But watch your fucking mouth, all right? Anyway. That goes for everybody, yo. Like, you're not going to sit here and appease other people while you shit all over us. Not with it. All right. After a short stint in real-life politics, Sorrenti began his online career in March of 2020 on Twitch to just a handful of viewers, streaming games such as I don't give a fuck about any of this. Okay, she now streams to over 1,000 concurrent viewers. Sorrenti made a name for herself on social media by directing her Twitch chat. Okay, this is the interesting part. Sorrenti made it. Vosh is a GAMP. Let me be clear. Vosh is a GAMP. He's a gynoandromorphophile. Okay, so he is an autogynophile who externalizes his autogynophilia and has sex with trans-identified males. And that's all good and fine, Vosh. Fuck them all. No, really. I really hope that you can just like start running through as many as these Tims as possible. I hope you and all the other AGPs can get together and just start like rotating. Whatever it is, it's all good. Call him she, her, you know, in the telly, okay? But like, you know, go do that shit. It's all good. Leave us out of it. Leave us out of it, yo. Of course he hates real. Yo, I've listened to some of his streams. Some of this is like, it's really makes me mad. Anyway. No, he's really something's wrong with that guy. And I can see he seems like he's somebody who would be like a wife beater. But luckily he's a GAMP, so he can, you know, get into it with his lovers. Because we have we're not into that. Alright. Sorrenti made a name for herself on social media by directing her Twitch chat to... Okay, Sorrenti made a name for herself... Listen, if I accidentally use she, her for this clown, it's only because I'm reading it. And, you know what I mean? I'm really tired right now. It takes a lot of mental energy to switch back and forth. Kerfluffles is a man. He's a male. He's a man. He's he, him, his. Okay, so I apologize for any mistakes. I'm gonna try to correct them. Sorrenti made a name for himself on social media by directing his Twitch chat to brigade targets, sometimes even on his alternative accounts to get past blocks, by ratioing them on Twitter. Ratioing is when a Twitter user interacts with another user's tweets either through a direct comment or a quote tweet and surpasses the original tweet in likes and engagement. Sorrenti's Twitter behavior typically involves him streaming his interactions with conservative or anti-trans individuals on Twitter, encouraging his audience to engage in bullying or harassment against whoever he sets his sights on, sometimes even asking other larger creators for assistance. On May 22nd, he had his sights set on Ian Miles Cheong, an active, quote, anti-SJW, social justice warrior, famous from before the days of Gamergate. For hours, Sorrenti would go back and forth with Ian. What's Gamergate, guys? Can anyone get me up to speed? I don't spend that much time on the internet. Let's see. Where we at? For hours, Sorrenti would go back and forth. I don't give a fuck about Ian. All right, so the rest of this shit is basically he uses his audience to harass people, and he kind of gained notoriety from that, and then I guess set his sights on Destiny and decided he was gonna take Destiny down, because the thing is some people really do build their following off of targeting and heckling and harassing other people, and it's I guess it's interesting for people to watch them take down other people. So that's basically what's his name's whole shtick is just going after people. All right, this is all him defending himself. No one cares. Timeline of him defending himself. No one cares. Literally no one cares. Let's see. Oh, interesting. At one point, Kerfluffles basically claimed that Noel has his back while reading what is obviously a troll post on my Kiwi Farms account. Or I guess thread. Joshua Noel has stated the world would be better off with me dead, that he will, quote, not talk to me. Oh, and just to be clear, everything that I read is, I'm only reading this as to keep an account of this stuff. I did not write this. This is not from me. All of the allegations are just that. They're allegations. Everybody stated is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. I'm not here to make any allegations. I'm not here to perpetuate. I'm here to keep a record of something that exists on the internet and to follow something that is historically significant that is happening on the internet. And I'm simply relaying and covering this as a story, not to necessarily perpetuate any of these claims or to affirm any allegations. I've, you know what I mean? I didn't write any of this. I have nothing to do with any of this. With that being said, all right. Also note that while I've posted on Kiwi Farms, my reaction score of negative 875 should give you a pretty good idea of what Kiwi Farms generally thinks of me. Let's see. Joshua Noel stated the world would be better or with me dead, that he would not talk to me, that he wished I'd be, quote, set on fire, and shout out to my Kiwi Farms thread to call me a cuck. So this is him basically setting the stage to say that, listen, he's not a Kiwi Farms, he's not, I guess this is Destiny's way of setting the stage. He's not a Kiwi Farms, he has no personal stake in defending Kiwi Farms other than that it's the truth, and that he's had negative interactions with Kiwi Farms, and then I guess Joshua Moon has said some pretty egregious things against him. So because he does go on to defend Kiwi Farms, and he's basically saying it's not because he has some personal or social stake in doing so. All right, so on August 21st, Sorrenti claimed that I had so Kerfluffles claimed that Destiny had, quote, actively facilitated all the bad things that have happened to him over the past several months and blamed me for doxing. I mean, Kerfluffles must be like borderline. Sounds like borderline personality disorder. There is no proof or evidence of any of this. I cannot possibly be blamed for Kiwi Farms creating a thread on him when I had no involvement in it. I don't care a fuck about any of that. All right. On August 27th, Kerfluffles claimed Destiny was, quote, considering bankrolling Kiwi Farms and that I have been known to mock trans people who have attempted suicide. Okay. So he spends like an inordinate amount of time on this, like, trying to like prove that he's not a transphobe. Like, bro, we get it. You love trans people. You know, you abide by all their pronouns. You jerk them all off. Like, we got it, bro. Like, we got it. You know what I mean? It's like the most important thing here. Okay. On September 12th, she pressured Brianna Wu out of having a conversation with me, saying that Kerfluffles didn't, quote, want me to make money off a monetized video debating Brianna. I offered to donate $1,000 to a trans charity if Brianna discussed. So all of these like all these like people with like women's names or traditionally female names are all trans identified males. So like that they had brought up before who are significant. There's a whole bunch of trans identified males who are all like involved in this. Yeah, everyone is transphobic. Like, yeah, okay, we get it. All of the behavior that Serenity calls out that Kiwi Farms is notorious for are explicitly banned in all my... Okay, this is more of him. Okay, sorry. This is more him defending himself. I don't give a shit. Okay, here we go. Okay, so look. So he finishes out by saying, as you can see, Serenity has a tendency to fabricate facts and events. However, his lies run far deeper than the baseless claims he makes about me. The prevailing narrative of Serenity is that of a fearless warrior fighting for trans rights on the internet. Isn't that like the narrative of every single one of these Tims, is that they're just this, like, I mean, even down to like Dylan Mulvaney, that they are just fighting, you know, standing up for the little guy, that they're, you know, going against the grain, living a bold life and being their one true selves. Like, isn't that literally the narrative that every single one of these trans identified males, and that somehow, some way, they all turned out to have this like totally sordid past in history? Like, you know, and listen, not all of them. No, there are some, you know, people who are decent human beings who have gender dysphoria and whatever. But there does seem to be a trend in a lot of these, especially AGPs, who there's just a lot of comorbidities going on, I'll just say. Let's see. I am here to present a truer, darker version. Okay, let's see. The prevailing narrative of Serenity is that of a fearless warrior fighting for trans rights on the internet, while armies of transphobic and hateful trolls try to tear her down. This narrative has been propagated by her/him, the Twitter activist community, and partisan journalists Taylor Lorenz of the Washington Post, Amar Khan of Global News, and Alejandro Caraballo of Slate and Wired. Oh yeah, Wired. No, it's crazy how much like the mainstream media has like all been like just got, you know, going along with whatever Kerfluffles said, who uncritically amplify her lies. And I noticed that too. It's really scary. It's really scary. I am here to present a darker, true... They know that they don't need to look into the other side. As long as it involves a trans person, you just take whatever the trans person's story is at face value and just run with that. As long as there's a trans person involved, and as long as it's a story where there's allegations of transphobia, you don't need to look into the facts. That's the side you got to take. As a mainstream media... Dare not take the other side. Dare not, you know, look at both ends. Nope. Okay, it's a story about transphobia. There we go. Good to go. You know, next. We don't even need to hear what the challenges are. It's just so frustrating. Oh, and wait, hold on. There was one other thing. Wait, this is funny. Hold on. Where was it? Oh, the claim that on May 17th, she claimed, I quote, let my audience mock her genitals. Sorry. I had never retweeted, liked, nor endorsed any transphobic attacks. So I think he's like post-op too. I think he's had Vaginoplasty. We need like another word for vaginoplasty, because vaginoplasty requires a vagina, and none of those are involved in those sort of vaginoplasties. Okay, again. Oh, so just real quick, and he says that Sorrenti would later claim on the same stream that I don't stand for trans people because I support segregation between trans women and cis women in college sports. Ostensibly, this single issue is enough to erase the numerous supportive debates. He's like trying to show how like supportive he is, and conversations I've had on my stream regarding trans issues. On March 23rd, the next day, my Twitch account would be indefinitely suspended for, quote, hate speech due to my stance on trans women competing in women's sports. That's hate speech. Saying that because forget what women think. F what women want. Like, fuck how we feel. Fuck how we get. How about the fact, and I'm going to make myself big for this, how about the fact that Fallon Fox broke her opponent's skull? How about the fact that Tamika Brents got into the ring with Fallon Fox, who is a veteran, some sort of like army veteran, got into the ring with Fallon Fox, did not know that Fallon Fox was a surprise, born a male, is a army trained veteran, fought him, and within 2 minutes, he broke her skull. That could have been a life-ending or life-changing injury. And it's hate speech to say that concerns us. It's hate speech to say that, hey, we're worried about our futures in sport, things that we had fought for, something that we've only enjoyed for 50 years, something that I'm not about to put my kids are in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I'm not letting my daughters fight some military trained man. But that's hate speech. You guys, we have to fight. This is why we must cover these stories. We must follow these stories. Yes, they seem a little bit tedious at times. No, I don't feel like figuring out all the details or weaving together this web of just internet rejects who honestly I would never interact with in real life ever. However, as tedious as it is, we must do it. We must keep a record of this stuff. Why? Because it is all related. We must keep a record of this stuff. We don't let them muddle the narrative. We don't let them erase it, delete it, scrub it. We've got to keep track of what's going on, who these people are, what all the pieces, the moving parts are. We've got to fight this thing. This is getting scary. Honestly, the more that I'm following the story, the more I realize that this whole thing is getting scary. It's like, I think sometimes I get complacent. I'm just like, oh, haha, like funny, like goofy troons on, TikTok. But when you really, really start to follow this stuff, like this stuff is scary. It's the power imbalance, the stuff that is supporting this, it's behind this. It is so disproportionate. It's scary. There was another man that what's his name, who was a former Green Beret, what's his name, I don't know why I always forget his name. Alana McLaughlin also like took out his opponent like almost immediately, and then you see him in, like having her in that chokehold was just really upsetting to watch. It makes me really mad. And he's a huge fetishist. I used to follow him on Instagram, him and Fallon Fox, and just like watch. I know a lot. I got to do a video on them. That's a whole other thing. He's very violent. Let's just say that he's very a violent man, and he posts a lot of like violent imagery and says a lot of like violent innuendo and stuff like that. Fallon Fox despises women and makes no qualms about it. Same thing with, they both do. They don't like try to pretend to like spend time with women. They both hate women like profusely, and they're friends with each other. Scooter 1401 says, funny how they're both former military. There is definitely a correlation between military veterans and autogynephilia. And I'm really interested. I'm really interested to look at the link between like CPS PTSD or PTSD and autogynephilia, because there's definitely something. There's something. I don't know if that's the link. I don't know if it's the propensity for people with autogynephilia to want to go into these, like, it just seems like a lot of people with autogynephilia go into these very masculine, take on these very masculine roles early on in life and then switch into this later. But we'll continue analyzing that. So anyway, so on March 23rd, he says, the next day my Twitch account would be indefinitely suspended for hate speech due to my stance on trans women competing in women's sports, with Sorrenti later taking credit for my suspension on Twitter. My ban would propel him into the spotlight, netting him almost 30,000 Twitter followers over the next week, making it the single most explosive month of growth for her account has ever experienced on the platform, doubling her following. So again, this is a strategy. This is like a marketing strategy for this man. Sorrenti's primary strategy when dealing with people online is to attack. His goal is to discredit them as much as possible using half-truths or lies in order to mischaracterize their views into something unacceptable or associate them with unscrupulous actors. All right. So these are all, like, again, this is all him, like, defending himself. No one cares. Okay. All right. So chapter 2, Kiwi Farms. It's 12:12. All right. I got like another 15 minutes before I got to lay down. I can't stay up too late because it, like, messes up my whole day tomorrow. I just really wanted to, like, get some of this done. Like I said, this is going to be a multi-part thing. I'm not going to be able to finish this all tonight. Playboy put it to him on the cover. Oh my God. Ew. I mean, let him have it though. That kind of stuff kind of doesn't bother me. I'd rather them, like, use Tim's for all the, like, sexploitation. Let him have it. Let him have the whole sex industry. Like, literally, let them have the whole thing. It's all yours. Take it. You know what? Here, this will validate you. That way, real women don't have to suffer from the sex industry. Real women don't have to suffer from sexploitations. We can be protected. We can be safeguarded. We can have boundaries around us. We can be safe. Let them have it. Let the male-on-male sex violence, let it rage on. It's all theirs. You got it. It's for you. That is our gift to you. You can have the whole sex trade industry. Porn is what pushed this crap in the first place. Yeah, you know what? And let them all enjoy it together. Leave us out of it. We'll be safe over here. We'll be, with the normal men, and go ahead. So there's that. That's right. All right. Let's see. Kiwi Farms is an internet forum started in 2013 by a slightly deranged individual. Oh, first, I was listening to Joshua Moon's, Noel's, his Mad at the Internet on Odyssey. You guys should definitely follow him on Odyssey. It's his podcast is called Mad at the Internet. He's definitely an interesting listen. But I listened to his most recent live stream about this, and he does a really good job of explaining the sort of, like, technical stuff in a way that I think is accessible to people who don't really have a technical background. So it kind of helps you understand these things like DDoSing and, how it sort of all works and how the, like, security breaches and things like that work. He's really good at explaining it in a way that's not just, like, trying to overcomplicate it. That's just for other techie people. He makes it accessible. All right, so yeah, he's an interesting guy. Kiwi Farms is an internet forum started in 2013 by a slightly deranged individual. I mean, you've got to be deranged. I'm sure he's like a brilliant, everybody has, like, the darkness and the light in them. But it's just about how dark is your dark. Known as Noel or Joshua Moon. It was spun out of a series of 4chan threads dedicated to mocking the Sonichu comics of a special individual known online as Chris Chan. These days, however, Kiwi Farm serves as a central hub for users to collect information about eccentric online individuals known colloquially on the forum as lolcows. I remember the first time I got called a lolcow, and I was like, it was it was trans women or sexist men who's like a lunatic, but they kept like, spamming my like comments and getting stuck in my filter, like making all these weird aggressive comments about my like tits and like being like, oh, like we want your milky lol cow tits, like so fucking weird, yo. That woman is a fucking lunatic. If it's a woman, I mean, I think it is. I don't know what the hell. But that one's a lunatic, and I know that one's like all over Kiwi Farms. Anyway, let's see. They tend to target transgender individuals as well as people who seem to be suffering from some form of mental illness. Okay, they don't target transgender. The thing is, once you make it so that you can't comment, say anything about trans-identified anyone anywhere, then it's all going to get condensed to there. And also, they don't talk about they don't focus on transgender individuals, correction. They focus on trans-identified males. Why? Because the etiology of transgenderism in females and males is vastly different. And part of the etiology that causes transgenderism in males, or trans women as you would refer to them as, has comorbidities that associates and that facilitates and that is associated with this sort of other behavior that ends up needing to be called out, but we can't because we're not allowed to say anything anywhere, especially trans-identified males who are the most protected of all. And so, of course, it gets relegated to these, more in the cracks places like Kiwi Farms. But again, it's not that, there seems to be a high prevalence of this sort of behavior concentrated into, one group. You've got to start to question what's going on here. There are a few females to males, but mostly they are male to female. No, I know that there are, but I'm saying the vast majority. Like, I'm talking about everybody's represented. I mean, there's mommy bloggers who are represented on their farms. There are, whatever, like Instagram, like girls and stuff like that. There's a little bit of everything, but I'm saying that there's just such a high concentration of trans-identified males. And it's like, hello, why do you think? Yeah, they talk about Buck Angels got a thread. All right, anyway. They tend to target transgender individuals as well as people who seem to be suffering from some form of mental illness. The targets of these threads range from far left to far right and everything in between, with no individual being off limits to the forum. The forum has garnered a notorious reputation for bullying and harassment and has been blamed by several media outlets for having driven at least 2 individuals to suicide, with some claiming 3 were. It's quite common for threads to be spun out of pre-existing threads on Kiwi Farms, as many locals will come into contact with or create other individuals that will inspire new threads. Yeah, that's sort of what happened. I know that the Karen Davis thread was definitely a spin-off of the Exelansic thread. Let's see. Kiwi Farms began a thread about me on May 17th, 2017. It's decently active and currently spans over 360 pages. Topics ranged from users attempting to dox my wife, dox my child's mom, accusations of pedophilia, and baseless accusations of a whole host of improper behavior, among other fun and exciting topics. Other online figures would have threads. So he's basically setting the stage that they've ripped him apart too. He's not, and he goes on to defend them. So, I think that lends a lot more credibility to what he's saying. He honestly stands to personally benefit from Kiwi Farms not existing more so than it existing. Other than the fact that it tells the truth about Kerfluffles. Topics range from Other online figures would have threads created about them after interacting with me, including Vosh, Central Committee, and Anavor. I'm guessing these are all Twitch streamers. I don't go. I have a girlfriend who's on Twitch, who's also does OnlyFans, who I used to work with. Her and I are real cool, but she is really really popping. It's crazy how big these Twitch streamers can get. Her Instagram got really big because of her Twitch, and then her OnlyFans, which whatever. She's an adult. All right, Anna Bar and finally Kerfluffles. This is the foundation of the baseless claim that Sorrenti made when she said, quote, "Destiny is the reason Kiwi Farms found out about me," that she later contradicted. Sorrenti's claims about Kiwi Farms being a hateful, transphobic community are not without merit. It's undeniable that much harassment has stemmed from the forum, and much of it is undeniably transphobic in nature, with every person on the thread constantly engaging in transphobic attacks against him. While Sorrenti is right to have his personal qualms with Kiwi Farms, many of the largest accusations he's levied against the forum are unsubstantiated at best or outright lies at worst. Dougheye says Anna Voir is known as Destiny's stalker. Interesting. Yeah, sewer slide is always the threat, and that it's always like something that like because there's no way to prove it. As long as you say it, then everybody has to treat it as like deadly serious. It's such a manipulation tactic. And women know that it's a manipulation tactic. See, a lot of these men have never had to deal with these sorts of men, but a lot of us women who have been in relationships with these sorts of men, like we get this sort of stuff all the time. I've definitely had ex-lovers tell me that they were gonna like KILL themselves if like I left them. Like, bro, okay. Like, I don't know what you, sorry. What do you want me to say? Like, go away. Call somebody. I'm out. I'm like kind of mean about that stuff. I just, you're not dumping your stuff onto me. I'm not gonna change I'm so that would be awful. Okay, like what do you want me to do about it? Like, you're an adult. I'm not going to stop you, like jump in front of you, like, bro, like, calm down. Yeah, no, listen, suicide is real. I'm not going to say it's not, but it's definitely not anyone else's fault. I mean, people have to deal with their own demons, you know what I mean? You don't have to stay in a relationship with somebody. You leaving a man who is at that point, like, you staying with him is not, like, what's going to save his life. Like, honestly, it's probably safest for you to, like, exit stage left regardless. Even if he's, like, dead-ass serious. And I'm really sorry about that. I'm really cold sometimes. I'm really sorry about that. It's awful. I'm really sad. And people have a tendency to, like, blame themselves for that sort of stuff. But that's something that is such a personal journey, and that is a really horrible thing. And unfortunately, it's something that so few of us can really have any control over. And there's really, like, it's so hard to know how to intervene and what works with, I've straight up told people, like, like, guys, I'm like, okay, like, what do you want me to do? I'm still leaving. So, see you later. Maybe not. That's kind of mean. All right, anyway, let's just not go too far left. All right, let's see. Sorrenti's claim about Kiwi Farms being a hateful transphobe. While Sorrenti is right to have his personal qualms with Kiwi Farms, many of the largest accusations he's levied against the forum are unsubstantiated at best or outright lies at worst. One of the largest reasons he's been able to garner so much support for the hashtag Drop Kiwi Farms is because Kiwi Farms is often blamed for driving as many as 3 different individuals to suicide. This claim has been uncritically echoed by the Washington Post, Gizmodo, Insider, Daily Dot, NPR, Forward, Vice, and NBC News, among many, many other sites. Before we go too much farther, let's give some thoughtful analysis to the suicide Sorrenti et al. Attributes to Kiwi Farms. It's important to note that none of the additional information I'm about to provide is an attempt at character assassination. It is done solely for the purpose of further understanding the deeply unfortunate and complex circumstances that may eventually lead to suicide. That's what I'm trying to say. And let me be clear. I'm not trying to make light of the issue. That's really what I'm saying, is that you can't, that's not something that an individual, that is too much for any one individual to be able to, like, take on and know. We're not professionals. That's really something for professionals to intervene with. I do think it's important that, like, if to sound the alarm. I don't think you should, like, keep it to yourself, and I'm not trying to, like, belittle it. Depression's a real thing, and it's scary, and self-harm is real, and self-harm is scary, and it's really sad to know that we're really at a time when we're more interconnected more than ever, and yet we are chronically lonely. We're chronically lonely. We're chronically depressed. We're chronically untouched. People are having, even sex today is just like mutual masturbation. It's like masturbating, like using somebody else's body. Like, people aren't connecting with each other, even when they literally physically are. It's really sad. People are just running through people, running through friends. Everybody's just sort of like this, almost an accessory. No one's like cultivating a lot of like long-term meaningful relationships. And we spend entire days, weeks, months at a time where we're really not interacting with anybody. We're not really sitting and being with somebody. It's hard and it's sad and all of that. But I think to oversimplify what leads people to do that sort of stuff is unfair, and that's also dangerous. So yeah, I just, I don't want anyone to like soundbite me on that, it's just one, like, I also know when men use it as like a manipulation technique, and that's definitely happened to me more than a few times. And I'm not going to keep myself in a dangerous situation. Because another thing is a man who is feeling suicidal is very dangerous, can be very volatile. Because they'll take themselves out and they'll take you with them. So that's almost even more of a red flag for me to be like, I now definitely need to not engage with this situation. And if like I actually care about the person, then I let somebody else know. And give them resources to get help, but then you have to set, I felt like I had to set my own boundaries. All right, so do we want to go through these? Does this matter? I feel like it maybe matters. Does this matter? Should we go through these? Or is this too far off topic? I think it matters. It might matter. Alright, we'll just go through it really quick. Fuck, what time is it? I gotta go to bed. I'll do one of these. Let's see. Alright, sorry. Alright. So these are trans-identified males. And that's another thing. I think several of these, or most, if not all, were trans-identified males. And another thing that we've seemed to have like gotten too far from is that transgenderism stems from mental illness. That's literally always been the point. Is that they're so mentally ill. That's why we have to reorder all of society. That's why we have to literally upend our understanding of biology, our understanding of the world, the way that we've, ordered society, the way that we've written our laws, the way that we've, related with each other, so that we can help these people feel more comfortable and not mentally ill, right? That they're so mentally ill that we have to extend all of these just in crazy graces and, literally change just the entire foundation of everything that we know. So with that being said, they're already kind of starting with sort of a, like a rough hand, and I like, honestly, I really do say that with all due respect. I don't know. Human suffering is, I get no enjoyment out of watching people suffer. Even people that are like, I think are kind of like dickheady and whatever. We're all human beings. Suffering is real. I've suffered a lot in my life. I've gone through some really like dark and difficult times in my life. I wish, I don't wish that on anyone. Suffering begets more suffering, which begets more suffering. You know what I mean? We're all part of this human condition. So I get no enjoyment for seeing anybody hurt and losing their lives. And I'm sure that the families who are left behind, I'm sure, everybody was loved by somebody. And, but a lot of these people were very sick to begin with. We're very, very sick to begin with. And I think putting the onus on other people, and especially anonymous internet users, for what they end up doing is not fair. If this person is so mentally ill, the safest and best strategy is just unplug. You probably shouldn't be on the internet. The internet is a rough place. People don't need to have an internet presence. It's not like necessary to be on the internet. I spent a lot of time off the internet. We almost forget how to interact and live and connect off the internet. The internet can make you feel more lonely, can make you feel more dejected. All right, so Chloe Segal. Chloe Segal was known originally as an indie game developer who worked on small indie titles such as, quote, Homesick and Supernova versus the Dinosaurs. Her first dip into internet notoriety, however, would come from starting a donation drive on Indiegogo. I remember that. On April 2013. According to Eurogamer, Segal lied about contracting metal poisoning after a car accident in order to raise funds for sex reassignment surgery. Oh, okay, so this is a trans-identified male. Quote, my time frame for surviving this is lowered from a few years to a few months, with loss of many basic functions due to arrive prior to my passing. I don't have time to futz with the system. Right now, I just need to get this thing out of me. I'm strong and independent woman. I can handle almost anything myself, but I'm setting this aside because I do not want to die from this. I never wanted to resort to just donations as opposed to asking for donations from people who've enjoyed my work. But it's clear that this is the best option I have right now. Sorry, I'm going to get a pop filter. I know that, the sound can get, messed up from... I really need a pop filter anyway. Sorry, I'm going to try to, not get so close to it. There was no metal poisoning. There was no car accident. Alistair Pinsoff, a writer for Deconstructoid, originally wrote an article supporting Segal's Indiegogo. After it was personally revealed to him that the fundraiser was a scam, he revealed as much on Twitter and was fired from Destructoid for outing Segal as trans. Segal would fight about the funds for some years afterwards, trying to claim that PayPal was scamming her, even reaching out to Brianna Wu in 2015 before being shot down for help. She would later complain on Facebook to Ahuvia Harrell, a somewhat notable figure in the Gamergate era, that, quote, the trans community turned their back on her. On June 16, 2018, Segal would be taken to the police station after a wellness check had been called on her. Officers found her with a machete when they arrived, but they were unable to defuse the situation before taking her to the Unity Center for Behavioral Health in an ambulance, where she was released shortly after. On the morning of June 19, 2018, Segal limped out of her Portland apartment on crutches, making his way to a nearby park. Once there, he wrote a statement about his struggle with homelessness and mental health issues before covering himself in gasoline and setting himself on fire. That is so sad. I don't wish that on anybody. You know what I mean? I'm a creator in this world. I bring life. I've helped others bring life to this world. Fostering connection, human sexuality, motherhood. That's the spectrum of existence that I like to exist in. I like to be around healing and growing and being, I don't even like watching violent movies. I actually really struggle to watch violent movies. I don't like seeing people hurt. I don't like watching it. I don't like hearing about it. That's just, I get no joy, none, from seeing people suffer like this or hurt themselves. My death cannot be silent. It has to. All right, so this is so sad. His suicide note was published by a close friend of his, Jasmine Barlow, which read, let's see if this is actually, this is sad. My cat is snoring. My cat is really snoring. That's crazy. Excuse me. All right, so I'm just gonna read this verbatim so I don't get in trouble. Her suicide note was published by a close friend of hers, Jasmine Barlow, which read, "My death cannot be silent. It has to be loud and political. My entire life, my experience, my education has led up to this moment. I can only expect trauma and death from my existence." It added at the end, "Whoever needs my van and the things in it should have it." Despite the fact that harassment by Kiwi Farms was not mentioned in the suicide note and does not appear to have played a crucial role in Seagal's suicide, the Oregonian, Daily Dot, and Variety all mention it extensively. That is so irresponsible. That is so deeply, deeply irresponsible. So Brightside Sam says, "It isn't mentioned in the manifesto, but various Kiwi farmers help pay for the funeral arrangements." That stuff is so important. This is the stuff that is so important to keep note of. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, Judy C says, "No more exploring why they hate their bodies. It's just affirm, affirm, affirm." Exactly. Exactly. All right. Wow, that's really sad, and that's, I'm glad to hear. Listen, I've never seen like there's a whole mixed bag on Kiwi Farms. I've seen a lot of humanity on Kiwi Farms. Like I said, I went on there because people were like saying shit about me, but like I saw a lot of people were even pretty fair to me. People who were like criticizing me or I didn't find it super offensive. They, some people were like kind of harsh, but it wasn't. There was a lot of humanity. And yeah, I think it's so easy for there to be a boogeyman, and there's a reason why they want there to be a boogeyman. We have to uncover why. This one last space where, we used to be able to speak so freely on the internet. And it wasn't that long ago. That's the crazy part. It really wasn't that long ago. We've already forgotten how much we could speak freely and how restricted we are now. And that's why they have to demonize it. All right, let's see. Beverly said, "I'm so glad I'm finally catching you live." Well, welcome. I usually don't stream at this hour, but I just feel like I had to because I didn't know how long this thing was going to be up. Well, that's really sad, and rest in peace to this person. Like I said, Chloe Seagal. I don't wish that on anybody. Seagal had an active thread on Kiwi Farms on April 27th, 2015 to December 12th, 2017, the thread dying 8 months before her suicide. Seagal had attempted suicide once before in May 2013 on her Twitch stream and threatened it again in Twitter messages to another online figure, Zinnia Jones, in January 2015. Both of these attempts occurred before any Kiwi Farms thread was ever made about her. When asked what Seagal was like by a journalist, a close friend of hers described her as such. Quote, "For most of her life, she had dealt with abuse and depression, sensory hell, and executive dysfunction from autism." There you go. The link between autism and gender dysphoria is so real. I don't know. Another thing is, too, I do think, while it's easy for us to all just chalk up everybody as being, AGP and stuff, and there definitely are some, insidious, AGPs who are, I do also have to think that we have to remember to keep nuance, too. That, there are some people who are genuinely just suffering, and this is sold very much as an easy fix. And then these people are weaponized against us, and you're taking mentally ill people and you're almost pedestalizing them and giving them this sort of they're desperately seeking power over their lives and just a sense of just, control over something when they feel out of control, and they just this totally distorted sense of like righteousness and power, and like that the media and the mainstream society gives them. And we just have to remember that, like, what this does to a mentally ill person, what this does to somebody who's struggling to connect. Ryan Pennington says, just pre-COVID, couple of years, the internet was a different place. It's unreal. And even COVID was a way to like get a rein on the public. COVID was a way to get a rein on the public. And I'm not trying to get into like conspiracy theories and stuff like that. I'm sure it was a legitimate thing, but it also, they like were able to like, use it. And I mean, still was a lab created thing. So maybe it was China's way of, there's so many things we don't know, you guys. There's so many things. And China is in competition with us right now to overtake the U.S. as hegemon. And they're well on their way. And they just so happened to create something that pretty much reordered the entire planet. Yeah, no, but it was all an accident. They also just so happen to be controlling a platform that is totally changing the entire face and scope of our culture, especially infiltrating our young generation. But yeah, no, I'm sure it's all not connected. All right. So anyway, he said this is how this person who had committed the suicide and it was attributed to Kiwi Farms was described. All right. So like I said, for most of her life, she had dealt with abuse and depression, sensory hell and executive dysfunction from autism, chronic pain and seizures that I'm sure she never fully got diagnosed. And the hardest time, she needed full-time care and support, and I didn't have the resources to provide that. The state didn't seem to either. She had spent time in inpatient psych care, and they treated her like trash. She had OHP and SNAP, but the system really isn't accessible, so she couldn't get the diagnoses she needed for treatment. Regarding suicide, it was constantly on her mind. She even attempted once live on streaming video. She attempted while living with me. It was constant shadow over her art. One must conclude the Seagal's suicide was likely the culmination of abuse, mental illness, and homelessness suffered throughout her life. A prior partner who dated her for 2 years confirmed as much on Twitter, echoing that, quote, her suicide note specifically referenced systematic struggles with maintaining a home and adequate mental health care, with low income being the reason she killed herself to send a message. And that's another thing too. And again, we have to remember, some of these people, and we always like, I talking about how trans, the trans activists will weaponize suicide. And again, we have to remember, like, some of these people really, this is a mentally ill population, maybe some of these threats are legitimate. But again, at the end of the day, it doesn't necessarily mean that we have to create a dangerous environment and strip the rights of other people to accommodate that. As awful as it is, there has to be other solutions to help and to support these people, who are deserving of help and support. Let's see. But not through stripping the rights of other vulnerable groups of people. Facebook was free. Fenwick says Facebook was freaking me out with the automatic fact check type pop-ups on your post. Oh, I know. All of it was bad. Instagram was bad too. Let's see. A prior partner who had dated her for 2 years confirmed as much on Twitter, echoing that, quote, her suicide note specifically referenced systematic struggles with maintaining a home and adequate mental health care, with low income being the reason she killed herself to send a message. The claim or implication that Seagal's suicide was driven solely or primarily from Kiwi Farms harassment is unsubstantiated, insensitive, and irresponsible. Well said. Well said, Destiny, and it completely trivializes and erases the political statement aimed to achieve with her suicide. That leaves two. Julie Terryberry was a young 19-year-old woman who had documented many of her thoughts and much of her life on publicly viewable OkCupid profile. Terryberry claimed to be dealing with depression, ADHD, autism, Asperger's, anxiety, and suicidality. She lived in a furnace room in her house, complained about ants, and posted pictures that resembled those of a hoarder. Let's see. So, is there a point to this picture, or is this just a messy room? Is there a point to this comment, or are you just being? But yeah, it's kind of like unnecessary. Julie Terryberry. It's sad. I don't like seeing this stuff. It's sad. Sad. It's just so sad to see like young people destroy their lives, and destroy themselves like too early. We're all gonna die so soon. I've hated my life sometimes. Like, there's been times when I'm just like, things feel insurmountable. I've gone through some really difficult things in my life. And I just feel like I've also had to fight for my life enough times that I just feel like I know how thin this existence is and how fragile this existence is, and I know that it's coming soon enough. And it's just really sad. It's just really sad. All right, let's see. All right. By 18, she had already had 7 cavities from drinking too much juice and neglecting her dental. Is this only 7? I had like a ton of cavities as a kid, and like not because I like didn't. I was like very good. I'm very diligent about taking care of my teeth. I just like have really bad teeth, I think. She had written about her brother attempting to sexually assault her when she was just 11 years old, mentioned catching that same brother watching bestiality rape porn on the computer, detailed her uncle shooting up heroin and trying to show her his penis, and had made out with her stepsister when she was very young. She also spoke about her experiences with multiple older masters who would teach her BDSM on an online dating app, IMVU. Oh god, IMVU was so bad. One of them actually being arrested due to his conduct. Terryberry would eventually begin dating Mike, officially announcing themselves as a couple when she was 18 and he was 29. They would go on to post many pictures of her bloody, bitten, clawed, and bruised. They would go on to post many pictures of her bloody, bitten, clawed, and bruised on her Facebook. Kiwi Farms discovered Terryberry and created a thread about her on February 6, 2016. Terryberry discovered her thread a few weeks later after it was created and would continuously taunt farmers on her Facebook. She posted on her FetLife that she laughed at it and told them to do a better job at getting the story straight. Her and Mike's relationship... Hold on. Okay, so this is the Terryberry person saying, so the archive saying, hope you can do a better job getting the story straight this time and not half-assing the screenshots just to have something to mock too. Maybe I can go through and make proper album addressing what's funny and what's stupid and what they got wrong. Interesting. Some 30-year-old named Mike Holland. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, you guys definitely need to check this out and like click all the links and stuff like that. Alright, sorry. God, I'm really getting tired. Oh, God, I gotta go to bed. Let's just finish this and I gotta go to bed. Mike's relationship became more tumultuous as time. Her and Mike's relationships. So I think this is a trans-identified male. Her and Mike's relationship became more tumultuous as time went on, with her wishing they'd lived together and simultaneously having outbursts regarding their fights. He would cheat on her many times, but when she cheated on him, she was forced to write an essay in order for them to stay together. She would finally commit suicide by hanging herself in her grandmother's furnace room after Mike finally broke up with her. Oh, God, that's so sad. And I'm sure, like, there's clearly, like, such a history of abuse, of, I don't think it's legitimate to, again, it's important because the fact of the matter is, listen, these people have really antisocial behavior and really dangerous behavior that is prone to social contagion. And again, that they're not representing the truth of themselves. Like, oh, I had this really cool BDSM relationship with my boyfriend, and selling that to others. And these younger kids who can't see the sort of history of the abuse and the trauma. And that's why it is important to point out, because just because these people are mentally ill doesn't mean that they're not accountable for what they're putting on the internet. Doesn't mean they're not accountable for the influence that they're creating in a openly accessible forum where there are children involved. This person's content, the BDSM stuff, should not have been on Facebook. It's not appropriate. And the way is to not restrict them from being able to do so, but it's calling out and is holding it accountable and keeping a record so people understand the truth behind it. So you can know, no, it's not as glamorous as this looks, and this isn't this cool, wonderful, kooky, fun thing. You need to know the truth. And, these people don't, the internet is not like a necessary utility. Being an internet personality is not a utility. You don't have to, have a internet personality on the internet. Even me, it's like, I'm not selling myself as some, oh, look how cool and interesting I am. It's covering stories. I mean, you don't have to be on the internet. There's a lot that comes with that. And once you're putting yourself out there to influence children, then you are responsible, and you still do need to be held responsible. Whether or not you're mentally ill, you can be a victim and a victimizer at the same time. Doesn't absolve you of your responsibility for what you're putting on the internet that can be hurting other children. BDSM is a dangerous game to play. Women die a lot from those relationships. Women are hurt in those relationships. It's not glamorous. It's not cute. And it's, it is important that we can have an honest dialogue about what's happening and not just have to buy at face value what somebody's trying to sell. Because when you have other people, not just children, but even adults who are not, like, no offense, there's a lot of people who are like fairly low IQ. I mean, I know quite a few adults who have the IQs of like virtually children, who would be incredibly, who have the means to go really act out and try to mimic these things that they see online, and really in a dangerous and self-destructive way. I mean, people need to be held accountable for what they put on the internet, and it's important that, I mean, if this stuff's on the internet, it's you created it, and it's not like we just need to leave everybody what they want to show at face value. No, it's important that people have the full story. Oh God. All right. Well, this is long. All right. I'm going to have to finish this tomorrow, guys. I'm really getting tired. I hope I don't get in trouble for this stream. Like I said, listen, and as a final disclaimer, everything on this stream, again, is just about documenting, an ongoing internet story that has important, implications for sort of the course of, internet security and what the future of internet forums and internet speech will be. This is a very precedent setting, situation. This is why we're keeping up to date with it. I have absolutely no ill will to any transgender people. I believe that all people have a right to safety, dignity, all the full spectrum of rights is afforded to them under the law. Nobody here is guilty until proven guilty in a court of law. I'm not making any allegations on this thread. I do not support doxing. I do not support brigading. I do not support harassment. I do not support attacking anybody for any reason whatsoever. And, all, views are just based on good faith attempts at protecting other marginalized groups that I believe that have needs that need to be met. And those are women and children. But again, that's not at the expense of rights of trans identifying people, transgender people. I think that they absolutely have the right to be safe. And again, this is not to mock or at all put down or throw into question these tragic tragedies of young people who took their own lives, which is a horrific tragedy. I wish that on nobody. I celebrate that not at all. And again, the only reason that we're keeping this as an archive is because of its potential to set a major precedent for internet speech, and really the sort of, I mean, formatting of our social interactions online, which really create now have, as we know, major impacts on society as a whole. So with that being said, guys, thank you so much for coming with me tonight on this. I appreciate you guys. Let's see. Yeah. Alright, guys. Let's see. Just one of the only friends told me I'd distress you. Oh, I'm so sorry, you guys. God, it's so. Suicide is really, really like sad, and it's like one of those things that I've sat with and just wondered like how, why. It's so heartbreaking to me when young people hurt themselves. Like, it really, really scares me. It really, really breaks my heart. Alright, guys. Alright, love you guys. I'm gonna go to bed. I'm really tired. I'll talk to you tomorrow. We're gonna keep going with this, and we'll get through the rest of this. So thank you to everybody who's contributed. Thank you again to my beautiful moderator, Judy C. She's the best. And Miss Fenwick. I see you're in the house tonight. I appreciate you. Good night, guys. Good night, Doe Eyes. Oh, hey, Veracity Hunter. Hey, Jade. Good night, Beverly. Good night, Indigo Blue. Good night, good night. I'll see you tomorrow.